Hey guys, it's Study and welcome back to Comic Space. And coming off the back of the AGATHA All Along's finale, we have a lot of question about it. We have a lot of question about a lot of things, and with what is actually going to happen moving forward, especially with Wiccan, especially with AGATHA. Even though the character is supposed to be done with the storyline of obviously the whole saga that Marvel Studios has been able to create on the other side of the multiverse, and that is the WandaVision saga. AGATHA has still been in quite an essential part of what Marvel Studios is going to do with the supernatural side of the MCU. So we have a lot to talk about, and of course the major question to talk about, what is actually going to happen in the future, especially with Wiccan, and what arc Marvel Studios is going to be taking with Wiccan, and of course the introduction of Tommy within the MCU, aka Speed. So we have a lot to talk about what is going to happen in the future within potential Wiccan series coming out. So the finale of AGATHA All Along, the ending of the show, was the closest thing that we got to in post-credit scene throughout that show. So again, I think coming off the back of the rumor mill, it looks like Marvel Studios is in active development of a Wiccan series alongside the second season of Hawkeye, which is again in great news, which is also in quite a different video to talk about what is going to happen in the future of Hawkeye and with Kate Bishop and everything that comes with it, but really focusing on Wiccan here, that it is in the active development right now. So again, it doesn't certainly mean that it is actually going to be coming out, and especially given the fact that Marvel Studios have re-infrastructured their strategy and how they were going to go about making Marvel television nowadays. And I think the whole rebranding also emphasized on the fact that the whole new strategy that Marvel Studios is moving forward, hiring a showrunner, building a pilot, and see if that actually works out. So Marvel Studios is taking in quite a different approach. So all of the potential shows such as Wiccan, such as the Nova series, which again also has been in the development for quite a while. But another great thing here, the addition to the update, is that Wiccan series and Hawkeye season 2, both of them could be coming out within the multiverse saga if Marvel Studios starts making moves on the right time. Which again, I think Marvel Studios is already quite behind on the schedule, with 1 to 2 years already behind from their initial plan from what they thought the multiverse saga was going to be looking like, which again Marvel Studios also have backed down from their output content specifically on Disney Plus in terms of live action, because they are still going full on with the animation stuff, which again just has been in quite a great treat with Marvel animation. Right now we don't have an official confirmation on Wiccan series, or even if that is actually going to be happening. The project that we have right now that potentially could be continuing the story of Wiccan, it has to be the Vision Quest series, because that is the next in the trilogy of the WandaVision saga. And especially if Wiccan series is also going to be coming out, we are going to have this whole different storyline that Marvel Studios has been able to build on a quite sidelines of the multiverse saga, and that has been the WandaVision saga, which is still quite slowly building up. Talking about the Vision Quest series, which again we have heard a lot of great things about it, and it have got to the points where the Vision Quest series have supposedly have drawn some elements and absorbed some elements from the Armor Wars even, which again have also went on to in becoming such a topic to talk about, of course, with what was going on with Armor Wars and what is going on with Armor Wars right now. But again, talking about Vision Quest series, it is supposed to be featuring James Spader returning as Ultron, and just not as a voiceover in a major way. So obviously that is going to be one thing. It is also supposed to be drawing some elements from the West Coast Avengers, which we have talked and discussed about, which again it can be featuring Wiccan on that team. Depends what type of adaptation and the iteration of the team that Marvel Studios is going to move forward. If West Coast Avengers are going to be part of that show, or just going to be introducing the young Avengers completely, so with of course Kate Bishop and Kamala Khan and the whole thing, which again it is quite evident that Marvel Studios has planned a lot of things to do with the young Avengers. They have planted and developed a lot of these characters, of course, leading up to that team up. And again, it is going to be quite a major thing when it comes to the Wiccan's journey. So again, the next part of the story of Billy Maximmoff is pretty much simple. He's gonna go to find Tommy. So that is very clear, of course, alongside AGATHA, which again it also looks like Marvel Studios is not going to be done with Catherine Hahn just yet, and they of course want that character. They want AGATHA to continue her story in some way or shape or form, and of course obviously to guide and to build the character of Billy. One of the interesting things to point out of the origin episode of Billy Maximmoff is that the fact that William Kaplan was chosen by Billy, which again I think, which obviously given the fact that he was in the close proximity of the Hex closing down. But another very interesting thing to point it out is that is that William Kaplan does draws a lot of elements specifically to the powers and what does the aspects of the power Bailey has. And given the fact that William Kaplan being such an, we'd been intrigued with the world of magic and magician, which again William Kaplan's room, which went on to become the whole Agatha All Along series, because that's how the witch's roar spawns out of it. But again, I think another thing that with the introduction of when we are going to meet Tommy and the way that we got introduced that character, which was again in a very quite tragic way that we are actually getting introduced to Tommy, which again I think Marvel Studios is going to be very head on when they actually land on the topic, when we're actually gonna get to that introduction and get to those kind of topic and how the original person that Tommy eventually went on to occupy probably also had attributes or some insights to what the character of Tommy is going to be. So again, I think that is also going to be quite an interesting part when we actually get to that introduction, whenever that happens. Which again, I think throughout this whole time, Agatha's character is probably going to be serve as a guide to Wiccan's story, and obviously building that character up, which I still believe is going to lead up to a major Young Avengers project, which again is going to be quite down the line, but it is still obviously Marvel Studios is building towards it. So again, when it comes to Tommy's introduction, I believe it is going to be quite a while, and even when you're talking about in Vision Quest series, it is still going to be quite a while before we head into 2026. I still believe that Marvel Studios can be circling back to special presentation where we actually get in full-on Wiccan and Speed project just about them, and of course Agatha being involved in it also, which I believe the whole concept was special presentation, which is great when it comes to this kind of story. When it comes to this kind of building the characters and introduction, even when you're talking about Ghost Rider or then Silver Surfer presentation for that, say when you don't want to do a full out Disney Plus series, and of course not in theatrical project whatsoever, which again I think just specials gives you that kind of leeway when you have all of these multiverse storylines going through, with the major and the primary storyline being the multiverse saga. So again, I think it is time for me to see you guys off in this one. I'm so glad that you guys got the time to hear me out. Thanks for listening to me. This is your host Adi signing off. See you in the next one.